So I won the tennis match.
There's no fair.
Big score. I slaughtered him 6-4.
When most people think of Fran Drescher, they picture the glamorous, funny nanny with the unforgettable voice. But behind the laugh track was a life filled with pain. She was brutally attacked in her own home, only to have Howard Stern later mock her trauma on live radio. And just when she thought the worst was behind her, her marriage collapsed after her husband revealed he was gay. Yet through it all, Fran transformed tragedy into triumph. Stay tuned, because this story proves that even in Hollywood, the brightest stars often carry the darkest scars. Francine Joy Drescher was born on September 30th, 1957 in Queens, New York City. Her father, Morty, worked as a systems analyst for the Navy, while her mother, Sylvia, was a bridal consultant. She grew up in a household where laughter was constant, and it shaped her sense of humor and personality. But even in her own neighborhood, Fran stood out. She had a nasal, high-pitched voice that everyone noticed. Teachers and even casting directors would later tell her she'd never succeed unless she changed it. But Fran wasn't interested in being anyone else. She once said she didn't want to be Meryl Streep. She wanted to be Fran Drescher. In high school, Fran was already showing signs of star power. She was outgoing, loved dancing, and Dee became the first runner-up for Miss New York Teenager in 1973. It was during these years that she met Peter Mark Jacobson, the boy who would become her husband, her creative partner, and one of the most complicated figures in her life. They married in 1978 when Fran was just 21. Together, they seemed inseparable, pursuing their dreams side by side. They even enrolled in Queens College before dropping out because the acting classes were full. Both later tried cosmetology school, showing just how determined they were to stick together. But life would soon test Fran in a way she never could have imagined. In January 1985, Fran's world was shattered. Two armed men broke into the Los Angeles apartment she shared with Peter. While one ransacked the home, the other sexually assaulted Fran and a female friend at gunpoint, while her husband was tied up and forced to watch. It was a nightmare that left scars on Fran for decades. She buried the trauma, refusing to appear weak, but the pain lived inside her. Years later, she revealed how difficult it had been to even speak about the ordeal. For a long time, she tried to laugh things off, trying to be a good sport even when she felt broken inside. Despite the horror, Fran pushed forward with her career. She took small roles in movies like Saturday Night Fever, American Hot Wax, Summer of Fear, and even appeared in Milos Forman's drama Ragtime. These parts helped her build momentum, but her true breakthrough came not from luck, but from her own boldness. On a transatlantic flight, she happened to be seated next to CBS executive Jeff Sagansky. Instead of wasting the opportunity, Fran pitched him a sitcom idea: a loud, funny Jewish woman from Queens who becomes a nanny for a wealthy British family. With her husband Peter as co-creator, the idea became The Nanny. At first, the network wanted Fran's character to be Italian instead of Jewish, but Fran refused. She believed the show had to be authentic, and that meant Fran Fine had to reflect her own background. Her instincts proved right. When The Nanny premiered in 1993, it quickly became a hit. Fran's comedic timing, fashion-forward wardrobe, and magnetic personality made her a star across the world. Audiences fell in love with the working-class nanny who charmed the uptight Broadway producer Maxwell Sheffield. Played by Charles Shaughnessy and raised his 3 children, Maggie, Brighton, and Grace on-screen. Fran was living a dream. Off-screen, however, her marriage to Peter Mark Jacobson was beginning to crumble. Their relationship had always been more than just romantic. It was creative, business, and deeply codependent. But after more than 2 decades together, everything changed. In 1999, the couple divorced. The reason stunned Fran. Peter came out as gay. He later admitted he had always known but never said anything. For Fran, it was devastating. She had built her life and career around their partnership. To make matters worse, Peter had been extremely controlling during their marriage, from her weight to her wardrobe. And yet, Fran blamed herself. She even felt guilty for leaving him despite the betrayal. Over time, though, she forgave him. They rebuilt their friendship and continued to work together professionally. Their bond, though no longer romantic, endured in a way that was unusual but deeply meaningful. But just as Fran was trying to recover from the divorce, another life-altering challenge arrived. After years of misdiagnoses, she finally learned in 2000 that she had uterine cancer. Doctors immediately performed a radical hysterectomy to save her life. Fran later described it as poetic, that her reproductive organs had developed cancer, since she had never truly dealt with her earlier trauma. But once again, Fran turned her pain into purpose. She wrote her book Cancer Schmancer and launched the Cancer Schmancer movement, a non-profit dedicated to raising awareness and promoting early detection of cancer. Her philosophy was simple: catch it early, survive longer. She urged women to listen to their bodies and demand answers from doctors. Her advocacy has saved countless lives. Through it all, Fran kept working. She returned to acting, producing, and writing. She remarried briefly to entrepreneur Shiva Ayyadurai, but the relationship ended in divorce after a few years. Still, Fran didn't let heartbreak or illness steal her spirit. She continued to reinvent herself, embracing both her Jewish faith and Buddhist practices to find peace. Even decades later, the Nanny remains beloved. The show continues to air around the world, introducing new generations to Fran Fine. For many fans, Fran Drescher will always be that nanny with the loud voice, big hair, and even bigger heart. But what makes her story so powerful is that behind the glamorous character is a survivor. She endured unimaginable trauma, betrayal, and illness, but chose to keep smiling. She proved that laughter can heal, that flaws can become strengths, and that positivity can outshine pain. Today, Fran Drescher is still vibrant, charismatic, and outspoken. She remains a strong advocate for health and wellness. She encourages organic eating, staying out of the sun, and embracing a more natural beauty routine. She often jokes about her style tips, crediting the Nanny's wardrobe designer Brenda Cooper for teaching her to build outfits from the undergarments out. She also shares beauty secrets, like sleeping on her back to avoid wrinkles, using a humidifier at night, and embracing a less is more makeup look. To Fran, real beauty comes not from heavy makeup or flashy outfits, but from confidence and authenticity. Her fans see her as more than a comedian or a sitcom star. They see a woman who survived a violent crime, endured betrayal, fought cancer, and still found the courage to laugh. Her life has inspired countless people who face their own struggles. Fran herself has said, "My whole life has been about turning negatives into positives." And she has lived up to those words. Fran Drescher's story is a reminder that even the most glamorous stars carry unseen scars. She was told her voice would hold her back, yet it became her trademark. She lost her chance to have children, but gave birth to a movement that saves lives. She was betrayed in love, but found a way to forgive and move forward. And she was attacked and humiliated by the media, yet turned her pain into power. From Queens, New York, to the stages of Hollywood, Fran Drescher's journey is one of resilience and reinvention. She has shown us that no matter what life throws at you, heartbreak, illness, or trauma, you can rise again. And that unforgettable voice, the one that critics once mocked, is now a symbol of survival. So the next time you hear Fran Drescher's laugh, remember the battles she fought and the strength she carries. Her story is more than Hollywood. It's about resilience, hope, and never giving up. If you were inspired by her journey, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe for more untold stories of icons who refuse to break. Thanks for watching.